Dhyanamoolam Gurumurti Pujamoolam Gurupadaam Mantramulam Guruvakyam Mokshamulam Gurukripa Om Shri Guruve Namaha. Hari Om Tat Sat. So, we remember the title of our current talk, Third Eye. Last time we were discussing, does anybody remember what did we or what we were talking about last time?
Yes,
Desire,
I do.
ego.
The 6 enemies of the mind.
I'm sorry?
The 6 enemies of the mind. You were going to discuss that today.
I missed that point. I apologize. Once again, Chris.
Yes, you wanted us to discuss, study the 6 enemies of the mind.
Oh, 6 enemies of the mind. Very good. But that we have been discussing for a while. But what was the actual topic today going to be?
The 6 enemies of the mind. I can't remember the Indian term for it. I forgot it.
Okay, how about Joycelyn? Do you know?
Yeah, Chris is right. It's the 6 enemies of the mind, but the topic was more about like our own experiences of the 6. I think each of us were supposed to say something about what they've experienced during the week.
That's right.
Okay, so I should stop talking.
Do you want to list the 6, maybe?
Yeah, I would be glad to talk about those 6 faces again. So first is karma, that is desire. You may want to write it down. Desire, so karma. Second word is krodha, anger. Kama, krodha, lobha, greed. Moha,
Illusion.
illusion. Thank you. Who said it?
Mahi.
Oh, I'm proud of you. Lobha, moha, mada, ego. Mother ego, and matsa,
Arrogance.
arrogant, anxiety. Okay. So now, one thing I would request that you please remember, where did you write it? Anyhow, in all this, of course, we will be talking about it. Very interesting topic. And the reason I say that, behind our unhappiness, behind our displease, sadness, we all the time blame upon external element. But you understand, if the external element was to be blamed, then with the same element, we all should feel unhappy. Meaning, if you, very poor example, but if you take ice cream Will any one of us ever feel ice cream to be bitter while the rest of the people are feeling sweet? No. So to say, if something was to be blamed for you to be unhappy, everybody must feel unhappy. But we are not feeling unhappy. And that point need to be analyzed. And as a result, we need to look at within ourselves as to what makes us upset, what makes us unhappy. And the very first point that we discussed in this was karma, the desire. So that doesn't mean desires are bad, but when the desires are not fulfilled per our expectation, that's when our mind reacts. So we have to study our mind with, not with, but for that reactivity. What is it? And we'll continue little at a time. And once when the desire is not fulfilled per our expectation, that's the key point. In that case, Kam, Krodha, then the anger comes into picture. And the third state is the Lobha, Lobha greed. And those minor things, we may call it a minor, but the word greed, and I give you a simple example. Day-to-day life. Say if everybody likes coffee, and somebody made a very delicious coffee, and everybody used to drink just one cup of coffee, and that coffee was so delicious, you feel like having a second cup. Now that second cup, and asking for the second cup is not bad, but you got to have it. And the greed to get it, and if you don't get it, that will make you upset. So that word greed, only you have to observe. There's nothing wrong in drinking second cup of coffee. Whereby I don't say you go, if you're not drinking, drink. But this is just an example. So every time one has to watch. Similar thing can be a music. If you like certain song, you would like to play it over and over again. Listen 2 times, doesn't matter. But if you want to listen, and Vijay says, no, I don't like it, and Vijay prevents it, then at that time, your greed to listen to the second time turns into anger. Or if not anger, and if Vijay happens to be a father, and I like that song, and I happen to be the son, what will happen? I will be miserably unhappy, and he may be angry. So the word greed need to be understood. Okay? Then Kam, Krodha, Lobha, Moha. Moha, as Maheen said, illusion, that also need to be studied. What is that illusion? What in the dreamland or la la land we are living in it? Why can we not understand the reality? Then the mother, ego, everywhere we want certain thing to be done our ways. And we have heard the expression, either my ways or highways. And sometimes even if we do not express our ego, but internally we think that, this guy, uh, Vijay, he doesn't know even how to speak. What does it say that you know how to speak? And it's your ego which is telling that the other person doesn't know. And the last, anxiety, how does it happen when the mind wants more and new? And that every time need to be studied, bring in gratitude, bring in satisfaction. And this every stage in the life, one has to study one's own nature. Nobody else can tell you. And if somebody else tells you, then you know whether you express your anger or not, but you will be internally angry. So on this level, in all of those six, what you can do to beautify the life, that point today I would like to share, because that's the thought came to me today, is to study a little bit about brain waves. Okay? And there are about 4 or 5 types of the brain waves. I will show you a slide and then I will talk about it, and also share with you as to how to go for the ideal wavelengths. So let me quickly share that slide with you and then we'll talk. Okay, here we go. Normally, normally our brain cycle is in the beta waves. Normally, when we are talking, doing activities from 14 to 30, okay? And alpha, 9, and I will explain you 9 to 13, then delta and theta. Gamma, right now, let's not talk about it, is 30 and higher. HZ stands for Hertz. It was a name of a great scientist, physicist. Hertz means cycles per second. So here, when 14 to 30, when the waves happen, normally, an average working people will have 18 to 20. So, and here you say awake, normal, alert, consciousness. Alpha waves, this is the one I will highly recommend from 9 to 13 or 8 to 12. This range is the most, hello? This range is the most creative range. A poet, if you are a poet, you can be writing good poetry. If you are an artist, you will be creating wonderful, constructive, artistic excellence. And those who are relatively successful meditator, they will also reach to the alpha state. Those who are very high level meditation people, and here it says, deep, dreamless sleep, which will have something here, theta, which is 4 to 8. And less than 4 is delta. I will talk about it in a minute. So, but first we'll talk about this alpha waves. And Let me come out of it now. First of all, talking about I mentioned that the common person like us, when we are meditating, we can reach to the alpha state. And alpha state is the most constructive and artistic excellence, artistic person. And those are students and are meditating daily, then they can easily reach to this alpha state, and they can remember better, they can function better, they can be a better balanced person. Now, to give you the um, alpha, beta, uh, delta state, in which there are people, very high level persons, who can reach through that level. And I got to tell you one instance which will tell you that what a great state could that be. 1968 to 1970, a yogi by name Ram was very popular back home. And he was said to be a great meditator. He was invited here in Houston, one of the bigger hospital, and he was to be measured on electroencephalograph, which measures the brain waves. And that person, all kind of measuring devices, he was wired all over. And neurologists, cardiologists, psychologists, all logists you can think of, they were there, present in that room. And this guy, I don't know the exact time, but this guy on its own, say he told that at 12 o'clock, I will be passing through the alpha waves, and I will be in the delta waves position. And they are measuring, they are seeing the number of cycles. And he was there within 2 minutes. And after half an hour, he said, I will end my meditation and then I will come back to beta state. And when they saw that, when it was coming almost on the border of 4 or less, cardiologists and neurologists were concerned. They were ready to give him bump because they thought that this guy will die, because that low brain waves when you get to it. But then as they waited for half hour, and after half an hour, the brain waves started rising, number of cycles. And he did come to beta waves, normal range, and then he slowly opens his eyes. And people were mentioning, and they wanted to know what it was and what happened and blah, blah, blah. But at that time, something which will please almost every one of you and will shock also every one of you, that this guy, his awareness was so alert at that state that he narrated word by word conversation of all the doctors present during that half hour. And that was shock, because when it gets to 8 and less, and definitely 4 or 5, it has to be a deep, deep sleep. And deep sleep means what? No thought. While this guy verbatim narrated everything. So to say, brainwaves, durability, and what could be his sadhana, his dedication, was just phenomenal. Whereby the point I'm inspiring all of us that whether we could even reach to less than alpha state will be blessed. Forget even alpha stage. And once you reach to alpha state, you yourself will see the changes in you. And what I mean by changes in you, you will not feel like getting excited. That's state number one. You will be start accepting the things as it comes, which commonly I use the word flow. You will not be resisting any event or any person's opinion or anybody's work. So the point to be learned and understood, at that time you will feel like doing some artistic work. And what I mean by artistic work is not that you take a paintbrush and a canvas and paint it. It could be any artistic. You may feel like composing music, you feel like singing, you feel like writing poetry, writing essays, going and working in the garden, but all art. And art, in short, if I have to say, there is no duplication. You will come up with some fantastic creative ideas, and you will see the feeling of life will be so pleasant, so charming, never complaining. So the alpha state for a person like us is very, very desirable. And that part, if I have to um, prescribe you a medicine to rise above all those six voices, like desire, anger, and all those six and more, then practice daily some time for your meditation. And in the meditation also, initially you can remain guided. You can listen to guided meditation. You can be chanting Om, but then the following silence is the most critical. Don't say, oh, I had half hour of nice meditation music. I did half hour of meditation. No, that was part of the dharana, contemplation. But when it brings to the silence, that part you just don't do anything. And slowly, that time period will increase on its own. You do not have to. And someday it may not happen, and don't worry. You do not expect anything, do not resist anything. And on a daily basis, daily routine basis, if at all you react to your desire, just watch out. If you become angry, don't blame anybody else. And don't think that this guy is bad guy and he made me mad. No. You choose to become mad. Some person may not become bad. And we often complain, but when I say we choose to become mad, you have to understand that if you have your dog misbehaves and you may even kick, or the dog barks at certain time, you may become angry with him. But you go to the office and if your boss is mad at you, do you kick him? No, why? We choose where to become angry and where not to become angry. So if we choose not to become angry, then naturally dog is a dog. But when we become angry, who truly becomes dog? Ask ourselves. Anyhow, and a lot of us will say it is difficult. I understand sadhana path is difficult. Had it not been the difficult part, then we all would have been sailing in gamma waves, which is 30 and up, thinking high, screaming, behaving at random places, and getting in all stimulated anxiety mode. Higher the brain waves, hyper is the activity. So, but I won't say sharper is the activity, because I gave you the example of the Yogi Ram, because had his brain waves was around 4 or 5, his activity should have been 0. But his alertness was there, so he can repeat half hour of talk. And similar one instance, my father had shared with me when I was 5 or 6 years old, as to what does meditation do. And he was saying that on the bank of river Ganges during British time, there was a fight between two people, argument rather than fight, and one happened to be, no, those two people were fighting, and one was saying that he's wrong and the other one was saying he's wrong. At that time, the one against the other. So the judge says that, and who is right? So the judge says that, was there any third person as a victim? I want to hear. Then he says, well, there is usually an old person who just sits meditating. But I don't think, sir, he speaks English. So he said, but anyway, just send for, call him here. And he came in, and one translator was translating to him, did you see these two people fighting? And he says, I don't know, but they were talking in high term. What they were talking? And he says, I don't know English, but I can produce the same sound that these people were talking. I don't know what it means. Okay? So he repeated words in English. He doesn't know what is he talking. But he repeated verbatim, not even knowing the language. And then the judge could decide who was at fault. Point I'm making is, what does meditation do? And I use the word sharpness. And this sharpness, I gave you the worldly example, day-to-day example. And these examples are all objective examples. But I cannot tell you the subjective example. That zone of the different world is all together so powerful, so wonderful. But at least let us all aim to at least reach to alpha level, which will help us go beyond our underestimate agitative, unhappy life. And those brings us different kind of emotions, and that makes our life miserable. So let's not even talk about the misery. What alpha waves brings us the creativity, and let us use that creativity for the betterment of the mankind. And even if we want to go to the selfish level, let us bring it to our real advances, internal advances, so that someday some of your friends and family will ask, "Oh my God, Vijay, what's so wrong? You look so always happy." People say, "What's wrong?" Okay. Because people have to understand that, okay, it is quite normal to become angry, upset, displeased. But when the person is always smiley and happily, I I had a friend of mine, a young couple. I wouldn't say young couple, but still young, in 60s or maybe close to 70. Lady mentioned that my daughter was saying that, "Mom, you look so charming nowadays. You're so peaceful, and we see such a mild smile, which we haven't seen in almost last 40 years." And that couple and I, we've been talking every Monday. Today was an exception, uh, for 1 hour. And in that 1 hour, we were talking about those four C's, if you recall: uh, compare, complain, criticize. You remember those words? Or we have forgotten long back. Those things not to do. And she was practicing metta meditation, which is already on our site. And a lot of you requested the copy, which was given. And that has brought last almost 65 years change as to what she was feeling. And pretty soon, I'm going to request her to get her blood test done and see what is the sugar level. Otherwise, she and her husband both were high level diabetic. Anyhow, so this is an additional benefit at daily life level. And it is attestable, meaning somebody can even notice the difference. But this whole part, the science of yoga, is for your own inner development, your own inner progress, your own inner satisfaction of life, that you will not be expecting even a day more of life when you come close to the death, because you are living, you are enjoying every moment so beautifully. If you are working, if you are a student, you will enjoy the studentship so much, because any subject that you study, that subject even sounds so interesting, so fascinating. If you are math and physics oriented, just see that what they accomplish. I had one beautiful article, which I hope I can translate. It is in Hindi, that Bhagwan Sri Ram and this story about Ram, or the history, Itihasa, has been written by Valmiki. So Valmiki Ramayana, he narrated a couple of sloka, his research, so that gives the exact time of his birth, thousands of years ago. As to where were the star and what time and what place and blah, 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 I don't know much. But when I read that, I couldn't imagine thousands of years ago where the scientific instruments were not even available, but astrology that people, Valmiki, he was a phenomenon astrologer as well. So he could exactly pinpoint out, narrated in his Ramayana, as to where and how, what time Sri Ram was born in the couple of Chopai. Anyhow, so point I'm making is that whatever advancement which we are learning with the help of physics, astrophysics, and whatnot, chemistry, whereby I'm not saying the science is behind or so, but that all those are possible with instrument. And in those days, the only instrument he had, those rishis or the seers or the yogis had, was silencing the mind, reaching beyond alpha state, and just seeing as if you and I were seeing each other. So to them, there was nothing past, nothing present, and nothing future. So they were beyond the time phase. And it's so hard for us even to think what is beyond time. But nevertheless, dear friend, the six vices, and simply do not just look at that, but at least starting today, if you haven't started, at least identify that this desire made me reactive. That's it. Don't say any more. This particular element made me mad. I got attracted towards money, or this dress was so good. I became greedy. Buy that, spend money. I don't care. But at least make a note in your mind and don't tell anybody else that was your greed. You may have 50 dresses or 50 suits. Let me not talk about ladies. Ladies are fine all the time. They don't have any greed. So, so whosoever in general, if the greed happens, make a note. If your egocentric behavior take place, make a note. Whether other people tell you or not, it's a different story. But you just make a note and say, yeah, this was my egocentric behavior. So first step is to make note. Second stage is to sincerely think on it so that similar thing may not happen, or try to go deep into it and say why it happens. And all of this thing will be possible only when our mind will be relatively quiet. Relatively. I'm not talking about even alpha state. Okay? But somewhere 10, 12 cycles. And that any meditation can help. And for that also, our everyday life is so full of agitation, so full of excitement. So every hour on an hour basis, which was told many times, and I'm repeating even now, that every hour on an hour basis have 5 conscious breath. Meaning, remember, oh, it's 9 o'clock, okay, I have to have 5 breath. That doesn't mean you're not breathing. So even if you have your eyes open, but then keep your open eye closed, meaning you're not paying attention to the outside world and you're paying attention to your breathing. Breathe in through the nose and slowly breathe out through the center of the lips. Do that 5 breaths. So at the end of an hour, you're cooling your mind down. And thereafter, if this practice continues, then you will become conscious of your breath all the time. Slower the brain, slower are the brain waves. Make very serious note of this sentence. Slower the breathing rate, slower is the rate of the brain waves. You cannot have a faster brain and slower breathing rate. And thereafter, this will go so hand in hand, your thinking will become so lovely, it will become rich, so that you will not be paying attention to exciting news, exciting conversation, exciting activity. And accordingly, this will start getting reflected into not even to eat the exciting food. And what I mean by exciting food, spicy, fried and refried and cooked and recooked, heavy to digest, that is high level of animal proteins. Anything that stimulates you, those kind of food need to be avoided for the yogic student. And we all are yogic student. And so should be on the drink side. A lot of time, people would like to have a glass of wine or a glass of alcohol, just to say, I'm so tired, I want to relax. Are you really relaxing? Or you are becoming unconscious? You are losing control over yourself. When Swami Ram was at the 4 cycles per minute, it was such a deep, relaxing, sleepless sleep state, or even lower. But he was not sleeping, he was fully alert and awake. On the contrary, at that time, his brain was working even very efficient and sharper. So, choice be held, dear friends, and I know all of you will do just wonder. Any question that you have, any concern or any thing that you like to share?
Sunaj, I would like to share one thing.
Yes, sir.
Among all these 6 vices, the important one is the desire. If we control the desire, all others will be under control or non-existent.
Okay, and you are right. It's not controlling it, mastering it. Understand, Replace the word.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah. Okay.
Study. That's all. And it is just after the desire, study to see what is its effect on your mind. Okay? Right now, let me tell you, right now you're thirsty, say. Okay? And you got your desire to drink water.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is that bad?
No.
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 But if you say you got the desire of a tea and your wife did not make you the tea and you react, was the desire bad? Or you did not manage?
That desire.
That's it.
Yeah.
That is so. In other words, the world is desire. I fully agree with you. But then, so far as you are living, you will have desire. But then the word acceptance comes into picture. Realizing comes into picture. Awareness is the key.
Yeah.
Okay? Very good question. Vijay, by the way, I compliment you for it. And good thinking. And again, I'm not saying I'm wrong or right. You can argue, we all study together, but I'm just bringing the point across. Anybody else? When you have been thinking too much, come on now, say something. You're muted. Well, it's good to keep it muted so it doesn't allow you to talk. Okay, anybody else?
Sorry, Swamiji.
Yeah, Mukesh?
No, I'm sorry. I wasn't sure who you were asking.
No, I was asking, you could say so also.
Oh, no. No, actually, I wasn't sure. I'm good. Thanks.
Okay. Of course, that way everybody is good too. All right. Now, only if you feel like sharing, understand is nobody's perfect. We all learning together. Sahana vavatu, sahano bhunaktu.
Yeah.
We're studying together.
Well,
Anyway.
I have one more question, sir, if you don't mind.
Oh, of course, I mind, but still you talk.
Okay. In the beginning, you said, if we get upset or mad with somebody and others has not become mad, like say you and me are talking and whatever I said, kind of you got angry at me. But if somebody has said that same thing, you did not get mad. So it can be different. How you and me reacted is the result is.
Absolutely.
So it can happen.
That's the whole thing, reactivity. And that one has to watch. Why did you become mad and why not somebody else?
Kind of, you have a different opinion of that other person, so you did not take it in a wrong way. Whatever I said take it in a wrong way.
Whatever, but still, so you took it the wrong way, right? Who took it? You or the person, other person? You also had a choice to take it right way.
Yeah.
Talk, argue, put me down. We need to learn to agree to disagree.
It is kind of what I mean to say is that if you're with a friend, let's say now, you agree to whatever that friend will tell you, okay? So you'll be happy. But if the other person is not your friend, you will start to criticize or uh, deny that whatever the other person is saying. So the reaction is different. It's because of the affinity between the two people is different.
Who decided to be different?
It's you, like,
That's it. That's it.
myself, like,
So that's the point. That's why you are choosing to become angry or not become angry.
yeah, okay.
That means you are, a lot of thought goes on that he's your friend, so you're either favoring him or you're thinking that he being my friend, if I say differently, he may feel annoyed. So you take his side, so you are partial. Who decide this?
It's me, yeah.
You. Well, I'm not saying that you disagree with the person all the time. You do, but disagree with politeness, when to, when not to.
That is, yes.
So all those judgment, vice person does.
So Sonaji, the response or the reaction also depends on your brain waves and the
Absolutely.
breath rate, right?
Yeah, right. It depends upon your experience, depends upon your ego, it depends upon your karmic load.
So Sonaji, do you avoid those people who just seem to not have the same wavelength as you?
More than avoid, you accept it and move on. That's all.
Well, okay, like in his, what Vijay was saying, say there's 3 people involved and 2 people say the same thing and the third person that's listening only listens to the one person all the time, favors the one person all the time. That's what he was saying. He goes, what about the other person? How does the third person feel? He said the same exact thing, but didn't take it the same. Person A didn't take it the same way as person B has. Person B and C are saying the same thing, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And he's always favoring person C. So even if person B said the same thing, he doesn't, there's no connection. That's what he's trying to say, Vijay's trying to say. So my question is, does person B then avoid the whole situation because there is no connection with A? That person's always going to be disregarded.
Okay. You recall long time back and almost every other day, we have heard, we have learned spirituality is a singular journey. Only worry about you, what your mind and how does it react, irrespective of the situation outside. Okay? Whether do you choose to be peaceful or not? That's it. And the whole town may say you're stupid. But it's okay. You choose not to be upset, that's all. And sometimes when you are not disturbed, other people are disturbed. How stupid are you? You didn't say anything. Swamiji was insulting you. How come you didn't say anything? So remember, very important statement. Spirituality is a singular journey. You're wrong. Anybody else?
Yes, I have a question.
Sure.
I notice many times when I'm in the morning, I'll be sleeping, I'll be awaking from sleep, and then I'll be just lying there, and then my mind will start racing, and it'll just keep racing and racing. And I'll think, oh, I've got to breathe deeply. I've got to watch my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I start doing that. I start watching my mind. but it just gets faster and faster. And is there any suggestion you have for how to alleviate that? How to maybe stop it from happening?
In through the nose and out through the lips.
Even while I'm lying down,
That's it.
and just watch the breath.
Watch the breath.
Well, I'll try it this week and I'll report back to you next week.
You are trying anyway. And I have so many, I have so many other suggestions that by getting up, remember, aim, rim, cream, aim, rim, cream. You recall those mantra?
Yes.
Yeah, just before even you get up, say just 11 times and understand and appreciate the beauty of that mantra.
What does that mean? Aim, rim, clean. I remember saying it, but I can't remember what it means.
I know you just wait for one answer, not two.
Oh, all right. Okay. I'll look it up.
Yeah, you will not find it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and but I can guide you a little bit. I was just kidding. See the aim, rim, clim. That refers to the different powers in the cosmos. Aim is the power of creation. Rim is the power of sustenance. And Klim is the power of dissolution. So you are bringing in front of you the spectrum of your entire lifespan. Okay?
Okay.
And
I'll
these
try
are
that.
all called Bij mantra. Bij means the seed, and mantra you know very well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Good. Thank you.
I haven't explained this part. You made me lucky. All right. So, folks, my God, it's 9 o'clock. I never have happened nowadays. What happened, Chris?
It's not my God, it's your God.
I love it.
No, it's good. It's good that you run over. It takes time to ask questions, and so that's good.
Yeah. Anyhow, no, but I appreciate everybody's time, your effort, and it's good. So let's observe a minute of silence, and we end with Shantipat. Jayshree, are you okay, dear, with those questions? Not quite, huh? That's okay. And sometimes, okay, sometimes what happens is we are living in this world, so many things, different kind of reasoning your mind will give you. Unless we tell other person that the other person is wrong, he will be arguing all the time. Even though I'm not mad, but I got to tell him this is what mind will say. So keep on becoming upset instead of on the surface even agree with him. Hey, that's what you want. May God bless you. At that time you can say, may your God bless you. Chris will say that. Okay. Hari Om, Hari Om. Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. That's it. Thank you all. Such a joyous hour, whatever time that goes by, but how delighting it looks. Enjoy, my friend Chris. You're doing great. Look at your face. What a beautiful state you are sailing in. Hari Om.